prefer to just leave the meeting.
Oh.
Okay, it is 6 o'clock. We'll start the village board meeting on the June 15th, 2023. All present is everyone except President Jeannie Belial and Administrator Nathan Treadwell and the attorney, Ashley Lahaki. And I would request that a motion be made for someone to chair the meeting.
I will make a motion for Jim Mueller to chair the meeting.
I will second.
You have to say all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye. Yes.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay. We'll start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item 2. I guess we already did that call order. So roll call is already done. That's item 3. Item 4, agenda changes. To change the position of any agenda changes? No? Okay. 5, consent agenda for June 1st, 2023, regular board meeting and licenses and permits, as well as presentation of accounts and other claims against the village.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have to
Consent
do a
agenda's
roll
passed.
call on
You
it,
have to
Jim?
do-
Do you have to do roll call?
Oh, you want a roll call? Okay. Grace?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Number 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard, limit of 5 minutes. State name and address. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.83 and 19.84. The board's role is to listen to public comments, not ask questions, discussion, or take any action regarding pre-registered citizens' comments.
And we have Peter Gitter. And what's your address?
129 South Mill.
Thank you. All right.
Yes, sir, you have 5 minutes.
Well, recently you people just painted the yellow lines on the bridge on Mill Street. And I went out to check, and you came 30 foot onto my property that isn't even on the bridge with a yellow line. And I walked across the bridge to the other side, and the yellow line didn't even go to the end of the bridge. It stopped right by the creek. And so what I want someone to do is someone to come down and walk through with me and explain to me why you painted 30 foot on my side of the bridge, on my property. It's not even on the bridge. So,
I'm sorry, if it's not on the agenda, we're not allowed to comment on it.
okay, but I do want someone to come down there and walk through with me on that, to explain why they painted on my property. And I think what you're doing is you're actually trying to run that church out of town by putting no parking on that bridge. I've lived there for over 80 years, and there's never been no parking on that bridge. And then I heard through the grapevine that somebody here told somebody else that there was always yellow lines on that bridge, and they just repainted it over. And that's not true, because I clean that street and I clean all the way down to the bridge many, many times during the year, and there's never been a yellow line on that bridge. And then, if you go downtown, I don't know if you know that, but on each corner downtown, they have yellow lines painted. Has anybody ever checked those? There's always cars parked on these yellow lines. And evidently the police department is doing nothing about it. We checked the other day, and on 4 corners, there were cars parked on the yellow lines. And when you come up on Mill Street, and you want to turn left, you can't hardly see because there's a car parked there. So I want something to be done about that too. And I guess that's all I got to say.
Thank you. All right, number 7, committee reports. There are none. Number 8, unfinished business from previous meetings. There are none. Number 9, new business. A, discussion and possible action on replacement of VFD on blower number 2 at the wastewater treatment plant.
So we lost the VFD last week at the treatment plant for blower number 2. We got a quote from B&M Technical. They're the ones that put all of the VFDs in the plant and have installed them before at our plant. And so staff's recommending that we go with this quote to get it fixed as soon as possible.
So we just have the one quote.
We just have the one quote. We weren't able to get another one, and due to the kind of, I don't want to call it an emergency, but it's definitely a serious situation. We're requesting that we go with the quote that we have with the people that have been doing it for us in the past.
I was wondering about only one quote too, but then when I read your report, you said it's because they've done all the work in the past, so you.
And it's a pretty unique setup that we have,
Mm-hmm.
the way that it's arranged in there, and you know, these guys go backwards and forwards.
Any other comments?
The total then is the $13,094. Is that how I read this?
Yep.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to approve the quote from B&M Technical Service in the amount of $13,094.
Second?
Grace?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion passed. All right. B, discussion and possible action on resolution R-16-23 to approve 2022 water treatment facility annual report.
So, the annual report is in the packet. Kind of goes through a whole bunch of different things that the DNR looks at on our treatment facility. We lost a point or two here or there, but for the most part, looking pretty good down at the plant. As part of acceptance of this report, the DNR requires a resolution, which is also in your packet, to be approved by the village board.
Aaron, I had a question, and I emailed Sean, but it was like right before 4 o'clock. Do you test for PFAS? I talked to somebody the other day, and they were talking about a bill of the state that's looking at that, so I wondered about our.
Yes,
Is it on
I don't think
here?
we've got any results. That's for drinking water. This
Yeah.
is for the sewer, more
Oh,
of the
okay,
sewer.
okay,
But we have been required to start testing.
okay, thanks.
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution R-16-22 to approve the 2022 wastewater treatment facility annual report.
I'll second.
Grace?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Discussion and possible action on repairs to fractured sewer lines on South Nash Street.
So if you recall during our last meeting, at the end, there was some discussion about overflow that we had over Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
So when we went through and cleaned those lines, we also had them televised, and they found that there was a bunch of fractures in the actual pipe itself, and that it was something that we really should get on as soon as possible. So we were able to get 2 quotes for this, and we sent out our televised files to both firms, and both found the fractures and the fracture lengths needed repair in the exact same spot, so I feel pretty comfortable with either one, and which I guess we would assume going with the cheaper one then.
Yeah, print out on
So it's one for Aqualis, which is formerly Northern, and then one from Speedy Clean.
How often does something like this happen?
Well, It's the first time since I've been here, in the last 6 months, that we've had a sewer plug up like that. I mean, but an old infrastructure, as do most communities.
Yeah. And so this is to repair the pipe, but then the roadway and all that is.
Yeah, so this would be so that we wouldn't have to rip up the road and replace the pipe. Basically what they do is they pour a line that goes down through and coats the inside of it, and basically creates a new pipe on the inside of the old pipe.
Reduces the interior.
Yep.
By you guys. Yeah, but then we
Like
don't have to rip up
flex
the road. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good stopgap fix.
How long does it last?
Supposedly 20, 30 years.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve, so I'm assuming you wanna go with the Aqualis, is that what, okay. Motion to approve the quote from Aqualis in Green Bay, in the amount of $15,500. I'll second.
Grace?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. So, all right, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion?
Just what Mr. Gitter, but I don't know if that's more of just staff reviewing that, the footage and what we did with the ordinance maybe, and, okay.
So what we did was just paint exactly what the ordinance that was passed in 22 stated.
Okay.
But I can walk it with him, and
Okay.
if there's changes, then we'll have to bring it back to the board.
So no need for a future agenda item then, okay.
Well, the-
Well, bring it
and
back later, but not to discuss what we're gonna,
No.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and we already have a tentative public safety meeting scheduled, and we could add very quickly the Main Street, Mill Street intersection, because it's already been discussed multiple times. So, and in fact, it's already been, I don't want to get discussion, it's already been discussed with the parties involved to clear up that issue. So,
Is the date of the public safety meeting gonna be made known?
everything is. Yeah, they're all meetings are posted. Right now, the tentative date is the 29th of June. Any other? No? Okay, moving on. 10, report of the village officials, clerk treasurer.
My report was in the packet. The only thing I want to say is for the building report, on Stroh's, he put down the total value of the entire building, 280,000, so that's not accurate in the building permit report, but we'll get that corrected and that will reflect the, because he's just putting in a back patio and it's not that value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be an
Not
amazing
quite.
patio. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Director of Public Works.
My report's in the packet. One of the things it calls out that we have photos of, we've been doing a lot of work at Alonso Park in the last 2 weeks. Just kind of doing some restoration down there.
Good. Police chief is not present. Has anything been passed on from Chris?
I had a text from her and she had been excused by Nathan, so
Yeah.
I don't have any
No,
updates.
okay. Library director.
She mailed, yeah, she emailed.
Her report was in the packet. Attorney is not present. Administrator is not present because he just had a child. And building permit report, which we already discussed. Okay, so 11 is communications miscellaneous business, Blackwater Lake District News.
We had a meeting last night. One thing that has changed is now there is going to be a 5-year, or Sean has put in a request to have a 5-year harvester permit as opposed to having to do a permit every year. And other than that, the harvester is still not fixed. They're saying a couple more weeks. And it has to do with the engine and then rebuild, I don't understand all the engine parts, but rebuilding the, whatever holds the engine in,
Okay.
the brackets, they have to rebuild once they get the engine so they can make it fit. They're told a couple of weeks, but the company that's doing the servicing doesn't have the engine back yet, so they don't know exactly when. So consequently, we approved to have the company that was just here come back again next week to keep the weeds under control because
They're
it's supposed
already
to get
coming.
hot again and everything is gonna go wild again. So the harvester will be back again, hopefully next week for at least 2 or 3 days, to try and keep things under control. And then hopefully it will last until we get the harvester back and that can get working on a regular basis.
Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District news, there is none. Old Cross Ambulance Run reports and news, there was none. Hortonville Civic Association,
Nothing new.
Senior Activities Committee.
We met this afternoon. Wanted to report that Aaron came to our potluck on the 5th and was well received. It was a great presentation on what's ahead for the village, and I think you were awesome as far as taking questions and providing answers the best you could and being open to ideas.
It was
So we want to
fun.
thank you for that. He forgot a date before he came though, so we're gonna have to
Next time.
next time, yeah. This past Monday, we had our first walk together. It was at 9 o'clock Monday morning. There were 4 of us, and we just walked the trail back here. So that's gonna be the 2nd and 4th Monday of every month. We're going to do that. July 17th, we're having the picnic at Alonzo with, it's supported by a Thrivent grant. So we worked on plans for that and continuing to plan for Autumn Fest.
Is there like a chocolate fest this year?
Pardon me?
Is there a chocolate fest this year?
Chocolate Fest?
Chocolate Fest
that-
is no more.
Yeah, that was,
Chocolate Fest was,
The
the chamber.
Chamber.
And then the Civic Association took it over from them, and we changed it to back to the Hortonville Homecoming. And then mostly because it is super hard to get volunteers in the middle of summer, we just couldn't get enough help. And then COVID hit, and now we still can't get enough help, and so it's on hold right now.
just to clarify, Grace, the Autumn Fest is the seniors, so we have it's an agency fair, so agencies come and set up booths, and we provide a free lunch, and we always have a program. So this is about probably the 7th or 8th year that we've had that, and we outgrew this room, so we're over at St. Peter and Paul now.
Okay. Comments and suggestions from citizens present? No? Okay, need a motion to adjourn then.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.